Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, dear viewers. I'm your host Iram Munir, head of CIT department at Government College of Technology, Lytton, Lahore, and a PhD scholar in computer science. Today we are going to discuss something that almost every human being experience but very few people openly talk about. That is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of making the wrong decisions, and sometimes simply the fear of stepping outside our comfort zone. But here is an important question: how many opportunities have we lost? Not because we lacked ability, but because we were to take the first step. A bold life does not mean living without fear. It means
Mm.
learning how to move forward despite fear. And to explore this important topic, I am delighted to welcome my guest, Dr. Sara Khan. Dr. Sara, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you, Iram. It's wonderful to be here. Fear is not the enemy, it's more like a signal. It shows us where growth might be possible if we pause, breathe, and then take even one small step forward.
Thank you, Dr. Sara, for this beautiful starting point. Dr. Sara, let's start with the basics. Why do people become afraid of taking important steps in life, even when they now those steps could lead to growth and success?
That's a great question. Often it's because the brain is wired to keep us safe, not necessarily to help us thrive. So when we face something uncertain, the brain treats that like danger, even when logically we know it's not. And then that old wiring makes us overestimate the risk and really underestimate our own ability to cope and adapt. Plus, nobody likes embarrassment or criticism. So the mind pushes us to avoid it. But avoidance is exactly what shrinks our world and keeps opportunities just out of reach.
Amazing, Dr. Sara. Okay, one of biggest fears people have is the fear of failure. How can we
Mm.
change our mindset so that failure becomes a learning experience rather than something that stops us?
That shift usually starts with language. Instead of I failed, try that attempt taught me something. That reframes mistakes as data, not verdicts. Then you break big, scary goals into little steps. That way, it's harder to feel like a total failure when each step is just a small experiment. And honestly, hearing other people's stories helps because then you see how everyone stumbles. The difference is that resilient people treat stumbling as practice, not proof they're not good enough.
Interesting points, Dr. Sara. Okay, many people don't pursue their dreams because they are worried about what family, friends, colleagues, or society will say. How can someone stop living according to other people's expectations?
Yeah, that one hurts and it's really common. Here's the thing, Other people's discomfort with your choices doesn't mean you're wrong. A practical start? Pick one small low stakes area where you make a choice based on what matters to you, not what others expect. Practice tolerating mild disapproval. It's like building emotional muscle. Over time, your own values become the reference point, not every comment from the audience. It's gradual, not instant, but it works.
Okay, Dr. Sarah. We often hear that growth begins outside our comfort zone. But why is leaving the comfort zone psychologically so difficult?
Because the brain values predictability. Even uncomfortable predictability feels safer than uncertainty. Stepping out triggers uncertainty, and that feels risky to us. But the catch is nothing new happens inside the comfort zone. You don't need to leap off a cliff. Just take small, controlled steps like micro challenges where the stakes are low, but the learning is real. That builds confidence safely.
Amazing. Okay, sometimes the biggest obstacle is not the situation itself, it's our own mind. We imagine every possible negative outcome and end up taking no action. How can we control overthinking when making an important decision?
One of the most important questions we face. And one way to work with overthinking is to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? The best and the most likely. Usually, the most likely isn't as dramatic as our brain's trailer for disaster. Another trick is time limiting the decision. Like, I'll reflect, I'll get the info, and then decide, not think forever. Action builds clarity far more than endless rumination. And even one tiny step taken today, it can be enough to quiet that loop.
Interesting. Interesting answer. Okay, can you give us the example of how taking one small step can create momentum?
Sure, let's say someone wants to get fit, but feels overwhelmed. One small step, 10-minute walk, nothing heroic. After a few days, that walk feels normal. So maybe they add a few stretches. That tiny, doable start lowers resistance. Motivation often follows action rather than the other way around. Little accumulations become a rhythm, and rhythm builds progress.
Okay, Dr. Sarah, how can we separate our self worth from one person's rejection or one successful attempt?
That's such a good one. Your worth is intrinsic. It isn't granted or revoked by someone's yes or no. Think of rejection as feedback about fit in that moment, not about you as a person. A helpful practice is an evidence log where you jot down little wins and skills you've handled. So when rejection stings, you can hold it up against real evidence that you're growing. That balance helps separate you from the moment.
Thank you, Dr. Sara, for sharing such valuable insights. Dear viewers, today's conversation reminds us of something very important. Courage does not mean that we have no fear. Courage means that fear does not get to make our decisions for us. Sometimes the first step will be uncomfortable. Sometimes people will criticize us. Sometimes we may fail. And sometimes we may have to start again. But if we never take the first step, we will never discover what we are truly capable of achieving. So, I want to leave you with one question. What is one thing you have been postponing because of fear? And what small steps can you take towards it today? Don't wait for fear to disappear. Take the step, learn from the experience, grow through the challenge, and become the person you are capable of becoming. This is Iram Munir, and remember, your comfort zone may feel safe, but your growth begins when you have the courage to step beyond it. Thank you for watching and keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward. See you in the next discussion. Allah Hafiz.
You're so welcome, Iram. Take care, everyone. Keep learning, keep growing, keep moving forward.